I welcome you all to the session of hydraulic machines, and the topic of our today's discussion is the reaction turbine. In the last class we have discussed about the impulse turbine. In fact, when we had discussion on the classification of hydraulic turbine, we have seen that the hydraulic turbine can be classified into two broad categories. One type is impulse turbine, for which we have seen the operation of the turbine when it is equipped or installed in a power plant, definitely in a hydroelectric power plant. Today we shall discuss about the other type, that is the reaction turbine. So, you all have studied about the impulse and reaction turbine definitely in the context of steam power plant, and that those topics you have studied in applied thermodynamics course. So, you know that impulse turbine, the name comes from the fact that the energy transfer from the fluid to the rotating part of the turbine takes place only by virtue of the impulsive effect. So, you know that if we try to recall the impulse turbine, when fluid is passing or entering into the runner, virtually there is no pressure change. So, there is no static pressure change when liquid or fluid is passing through the runner, and hence I will be introducing one term in the context of the hydraulic turbine, that is called degree of reaction. Since there is no static pressure change when liquid is passing through the runner, by definition degree of reaction is 0. Now, the reaction turbine is a special special type of turbine, wherein in addition to the impulsive effect, reaction force will be there, and that reaction force will be impressed on the blades of the turbine. Hence, this turbine is called reaction turbine. Ideally, the turbine should be called as impulse reaction turbine, but only to make it different from the impulse type, sometimes it is known as reaction turbine, rather not sometimes, oftentimes it is known as reaction turbine. So, if we go to the next slide, you can see that I have tried to show the schematically the impulse turbine, and of course, this is the cross sectional view. So, you know that if I give name, so if it is A, and that is the cross sectional view, at AA. I will try to first label different parts of this turbine. So, you know that this is water from penstock. So, as I have discussed, water is allowed to enter into the turbine from the reservoir following or from the reservoir through a fluidic channel which is known as penstock. Now, when water is coming, it enters into one special type of arrangement, that is called casing. So, you know that this is basically runner. So, this is runner. So, it is having hub and a few blades. You can see this smaller circle, that is known as hub. Along the periphery of the hub, a few blades are mounted, and this hub plus blades together forms this runner. Now, the runner is surrounded by the special arrangement, and that is known as caching. So, this part is called caching. Since shape of this particular type of caching is spiral, so it is known as spiral caching. Sometimes it is also known as scroll caching. So, this is also known as scroll caching. In some books you will find that it is written scroll caching. So, water is allowed to come from penstock and then it enters into the scroll caching. Before describing the other parts of this particular turbine, I would like to draw the schematic depiction of a hydroelectric plant having one reaction turbine. So, if we go here and if I write hydroelectric plant with reaction turbine. So, as I told you that and this is reservoir, it is storing liquid, definitely this is water. So, this is water and water is allowed to go into the turbine following or using through this particular equipment. Oh sorry, this is the eraser. So, if I draw okay, and say this is this caching. So, this is this caching, again this is schematic depiction, and after doing work liquid leaves the turbine and it goes again to this tail race level. So, this is head race level HRL, this is tail race level and this is the gross head H gross. This is the gross head. In fact, for the time being I am not going to discuss about the losses. So, though this is the gross head, but this head may not be available for the conversion into the mechanical work. And see, this is the turbine. Now, what I want to discuss here is that in the last class we have discussed about the impulse turbine and we have seen that fluid at the exit of the penstock is allowed to pass through a flow nozzle and the entire energy conversion takes place only in the nozzle. But in case of a reaction turbine, the energy conversion takes place not only not in one place, rather when liquid is passing through the entire runner. So, this is very important. Let me talk about the difference between the impulse, or I will be writing this in the next slide, which is very important. So, if I write the difference between the impulse and reaction turbine. So, this is impulse and this is reaction. Okay. So, in impulse turbine we have seen that entire energy conversion takes place in the nozzle, right. Entire energy conversions takes place in the nozzle, right. But in case of a reaction turbine, a part of the head, is converted to velocity head or kinetic energy before water enters the runner. So, this is the fundamental difference. Now, if we go back to the previous slide, so that means here there is no such nozzle wherein entire energy conversion will takes place. So, water will be admitted into the turbine, and while passing through the runner of the turbine, gradual conversion of the energy will takes place. So, pressure head will be converted into the kinetic head and we will be getting mechanical work, and runner will be rotating. But at the exit or outlet of the turbine, you know that when water is coming out, it is not directly discharged into the tail race level, rather it is allowed to pass through again a special type of fluidic channel which is known as draft tube. So, this is called draft tube. If you look at, you will find, in fact, if you go to the previous slide also, see this is draft tube. So, this part is the exit of the turbine. So, what I said, the liquid is not allowed to be discharged directly to the tail race level, rather it is taken through this particular device, particular safe channel which is having diverging safe that is in the direction of flow. So, this is the flow direction. So, in the direction of flow, area gradually increases essentially to arrest the loss of kinetic energy. So, you know that if you allow liquid to be directly discharged into the tail race level without passing through this particular arrangement, so there will be loss of kinetic energy at the exit of the turbine. Now, I will be discussing in one class that the draft tube is an integral part of the reaction turbine. So, it is not a separate part, but when we will be discussing about the net head that will be converted into the mechanical energy, we also will consider the head which is available even in the draft tube for the conversion. So, and the entire objective is that if we discharge water directly into the tail race level without allowing the liquid to pass through this draft tube, there will be a loss of kinetic energy, and that amount if we try to arrest it, perhaps we can increase the efficiency of the turbine. So, that part we will discuss later. So, for the time being you should know that this is draft tube which was not there in case of the impulse turbine. Why I am discussing? Because I would like to discuss about the difference between impulse and reaction turbine. So, since the entire energy conversion takes place in the nozzle for the impulse turbine, I mean there is no need of having such an arrangement in case of the impulse turbine, and I mean you have seen that after when the jet, when the fluid is coming out from the nozzle in the form of a jet is striking the turbine blade, and as such the it is not necessary that entire turbine runner will be surrounded by special arrangement like casing. I mean it is open to atmosphere, that is what we have discussed in the last class, but here the entire runner is surrounded by the special arrangement that is called casing, and when liquid is coming out from the penstock, it gradually goes gradually goes into the runner. So, you know that I did not show. So, there are this particular part is known as guide fan. We will be discussing soon. Okay. So, now this is one important, and you know that in case of a impulse turbine only one or two blades or buckets, one blade or two blades are engaged during the energy conversion process. So, we have discussed that that when the fluid is coming out in the form of a jet, it is striking only one blade. If need arises depending on the requirement of the plant, there might be two such nozzles which are placed diametrically opposite to each other. So, I mean in that case maybe two blades will be allowed to get two blades will be engaged while energy exchange is taking place. But you know that in case of a reaction turbine, you know that the complete, what I can say, the complete passage of the runner, fluid completely occupies the blade passage, blades passes or runner during energy conversion, right. So, these two are important. The last one, since only one or two nozzle are engaged for the energy conversion process, you can understand that essentially we need to get power. So, to get more torque, you know that that diameter, rotor diameter will be increased. So, you can understand that rotor diameter needs to be larger for the same power output. Since only one or two, either one blade or two blades are engaged at a time for the energy conversion. So, the rotor diameter needs to be larger for the same power output, but for the reaction turbine, since entire passage is filled with the liquid and the energy conversion takes place gradually, rotor diameter, rotor or runner, I should write runner diameter, rather I should write runner not rotor, because rotor it is called for the compressor. So, I should write runner. Runner diameter okay. So, runner diameter is not very large. So, write need not to be very large, but I can write is not large. For the same power output. Okay. So, these are the basically differences between these are the points which make these two turbine, I mean I can say identity wise, also operation wise different. Okay. Now, next if we go back to the previous slide, so try to understand. Now, I will be going back to the first slide wherein I have drawn the cross sectional view. See, when liquid is passing or liquid is just entering into the turbine, entire passage will be filled with the liquid, that liquid working fluid, and energy conversion will take place gradually. Now, let us see why this particular turbine is called reaction turbine and by how energy conversion takes place. So, if we go to the previous slide, so now I will be discussing that, see, the water when it is coming from penstock, it is allowed to pass through the special arrangement that is called scroll casing or spiral casing. You can understand, since the entire space will be utilized for the energy conversion, so it should be covered with this particular part, right. Now, when liquid is coming, so it will be allowed to pass between two guide vanes, and liquid will try to enter into the runner throughout the periphery, and this throughout the periphery, this guide vane or wicket gate. So, these are also known as wicket gate or guide vane. So, along the periphery of the runner, a few wicket gate or guide vanes are pivoted by suitable mechanism. You know that this particular guide vane is pivoted with this cross sign I have given. So, this cross sign indicates that the guide vane or wicket gate is pivoted by suitable arrangement or mechanism. What you can do, I will be discussing later. Now, speciality of the spiral shape or scroll casing is that it area, cross sectional area will be designed in such a way that the velocity will remain uniform as the fluid is passing through the casing and going into the runner. Try to understand, again I am telling. So, the scroll casing or spiral casing will be designed in such a way that when fluid is passing through the scroll casing, its velocity will remain more or less uniform. Why it is so? See, you can understand that that in the direction of flow, the area of the cross casing will be reduced or will decrease, essential to maintain uniform velocity. Why so? See, when liquid is approaching the first wicket gate or first guide vane, it will go into the runner. So, maybe when liquid will be reaching over here, that time less amount of liquid will be available for for the movement from through this guide vane. So, initially when liquid will approach the first or a few guide vanes, initially liquid will go into the runner through the passage between two consecutive guide vanes. So, when liquid will eventually arrive at the guide vane which is far away from the inlet of the spiral casing, so less amount of liquid will be available to go into the runner through the passage between two wicket gates. So, in that case liquid velocity may decrease. So, that is why area of the spiral shape casing or scroll casing is reduced in the direction of flow, essentially to maintain the uniform velocity. That is the objective. Now, I am coming to, so you have understood about the objective of having the spiral casing. First of all, this casing is required, it surrounds the runner, the spiral casing surrounds the runner, because in case of the reaction turbine, the energy conversion will take place gradually as the fluid is passing through the runner. Second is, the speciality of this particular component is that in the direction of flow, its area will gradually decrease, essentially to maintain the velocity uniform. Why? Because as I told you that first stream, the guide vane which is located far away from the inlet of the spiral casing, because liquid will continuously flow through the passage between two guide vanes. So, maybe when liquid will be reaching the guide vane which is here, that time the less amount of liquid will be available to flow through the passage between two guide vanes or wicket gates into the runner. So, that is why it area decreases. Okay. Next I am coming to the wicket gate or guide vanes. See, again I am telling, whenever any particular mechanical component or mechanical part is designed, you try to understand that placing the guide vanes, also designing their shape is not so easy. So, keeping what I can tell you, that knowing fully that designing such guide vanes or wicket gates is very I mean the shape is complex, designing those components is again is associated with the complex mechanism or complex process. Also installing such guide vanes or wicket gates along the periphery of the runner is also not an easy task. So, knowing fully those, why do we need to have such an arrangement? So, definitely in the context of the operation of the reaction turbine, wicket gate or guide vane is having a few essential objectives. So, we need to know what are those essential objectives. First, try to understand, as I told you that these guide vanes are pivoted here. So, these are basically the point in which the guide vanes is pivoted by a suitable mechanism or arrangement. So, for the turbine there is called speed governing mechanism. So, this guide vanes are connected to the speed governing mechanism. So, that means what you can do, if I try to draw two such guide vanes. So, this is one guide vane, this is another guide vane. So, liquid is passing through the passage between two consecutive guide vanes. Since these guide vanes are pivoted with some suitable arrangement or mechanism, we can modulate, we can tune that particular mechanism essentially to control the opening area between two guide vanes. So, by suitably tuning the mechanism, what we can do, we can control the opening area or we can control the passage which could be made available for the transportation of fluid during the process. Okay. So, now whether we need more liquid to be entered into the runner or we need lesser amount of liquid to be entered into the runner, that will definitely depend on the load or demand, we can control by this particular arrangement. So, though runner is surrounded by spiral casing, but eventually liquid will move into the runner through the passage between two guide vanes. So, by controlling the opening area, by controlling the area which could be made available for the movement of liquid from this scroll casing into the runner, and we can control the amount of liquid that will go into the runner, and that is done by using by this pivot this mechanism, right. Second thing is that these guide vanes, if you look at this particular case, so let me mark it using different color. So, if you look at this particular, see, guide vanes are given to direct the liquid, to direct the fluid onto the runner at an angle which is the design angle. Okay. So, I mean it will direct the fluid at an angle. So, it will direct the fluid onto the runner at an angle which is the design angle. So, the designer, whenever he or she has designed this turbine, so the guide vanes will allow or will direct, will provide a path to the liquid to go into the runner following the angle which is the design angle. So, there are a few essential objectives of the guide vane, and that is why the guide vanes are placed. And also you can understand that partial energy conversion will takes place. So, let me tell you, as I told you that by tuning this mechanism, this as the guide vanes are pivoted at this point. So, by with some mechanism, by tuning this mechanism, what we can do, we can control the opening area. We also can make the space which is available between two consecutive guide vanes to act like a nozzle. So, when liquid is passing through the passage between two guide vanes, if we can make the passage in the form of a nozzle, then partial energy conversion might take place. So, if I try to write the objective of having these guide vanes, I will be writing later, let me complete it. So, we have understood that this guide vane is having a few objectives. First is it controls the amount of liquid that will go into the runner. Second, it provides a path of the fluid to go into the runner following the angle, that is the design angle. Okay. So, it directs the fluid onto the runner at an angle of the design value. Okay. Now, number 2. Number 3, as I told you that since we can control the space between two guide vane by tuning that particular mechanism to which the guide vanes are pivoted. So, we can control all the guide vanes at a time by tuning that mechanism, so that we can make the flow passes between two guide vanes to form or to mimic the flow through a nozzle. If that is the case, then we also can increase the kinetic energy. So, partial energy conversion can also be made possible using this mechanism. So, I will write all those objectives later. So, let me complete now. So, when liquid is passing through the guide vanes and it is entering into the runner. So, runner is having a few blades. So, now if I try to draw, say so when the liquid is going into the runner from the scroll casing through the guide vane. So, liquid is now entering into the blades of the runner through the passage which is formed between two consecutive guide vanes. Okay. When liquid is going into the runner, into the blade, there will be a change in the direction. So, there will be change in momentum. So, when there is a change in momentum, and also you can understand that in the direction of flow blade area is decreasing. So, try to understand. So, this is the blade, in the direction of flow when liquid is going, the area decreases gradually. So, the kinetic energy of the fluid will increase. So, there will be, in other words, there will be an increase in the kinetic energy of the fluid when the fluid is passing through the runner, passing through the blades of the runner. And so, that increase in kinetic energy will provide a reaction force which will be impressed on the blade, which is definitely following the Newton's third law. Try to understand. So, partial energy conversion will take place when liquid is passing through the passage between two consecutive guide vane or wicket gates, passing through the wicket gates when liquid is passing through the passage between two blades of the runner. The passage of the blades are designed in such a is designed in such a way that again there will be an increase in kinetic energy of the fluid. Because of this increase in kinetic energy, a reaction force will be impressed on the blades of the runner and which will be acting in the opposite direction, and because of this the turbine will rotate. So, try to understand here that due to the increase in kinetic energy of the fluid, when the fluid is passing through a passage between two blades of the runner, a reaction force will be impressed by the fluid on the blades, and that is why the name reaction is coming. So, the name reaction turbine follows from the fact that a reaction force that will be impressed on the fluid on the blade by the fluid will be responsible for the rotation of the turbine. So, that is why the name reaction is coming. Okay. And when the fluid is coming out from the blade, it will have a change in direction from the radial to the axial. So, now I will be coming to this particular section. So, this is scroll casing. So, this is scroll casing or spiral casing. This is the schematic depiction. I have tried to make you understand the flow process, flow path of the liquid when it is coming from penstock, moving through the casing, passage between two consecutive guide vanes, passage between two consecutive blades, and eventually going into the center of the turbine. I will try to explain the same from this cross sectional view. So, if you cut this in this plane and if you take the view, you will be getting like this. So, this is called turbine shaft. This shaft will be connected to a shaft of an alternator. Okay. So, this is again scroll casing, scroll casing. The scroll casing and spiral casing is the same. Now, from this spiral casing liquid is coming, this is wicket gate. So, this is guide vane, and when liquid is coming from the guide vane through the runner. So, this is the runner. Okay. So, this is the runner. Now, liquid is coming from this runner and eventually it will be going into the. So, it is coming and it is, as I told you, that liquid is coming from penstock entering into the scroll casing. This is the scroll casing. From the scroll casing liquid is, initially liquid will, enter passage will be filled with the liquid, and then liquid will slowly move through the passage between two guide vanes and it will enter into the runner. So, this is runner. Okay. The function of the guide vane is to direct the liquid onto the runner at an angle of the design value. When the liquid is passing through the runner, as I told you that in the direction of flow there is a gradual decrease in the area. So, there will be change in kinetic energy. To be precise, there will be an increase in kinetic energy, and this, because of this increase in kinetic energy, a reaction force will be impressed on the blade by the fluid, and the shaft will try to rotate because of this reaction force, change in momentum to be precise. So, there will be, so when because of the presence of the blade there will be change in momentum. So, the fluid will be deflected by an angle, momentum change will be there, that is impulsive effect will be there. On the top of that, since when liquid is passing through the passage between two consecutive blades, there will be an increase in energy, and because of this increase in energy a reaction force will be produced. So, both impulsive effect plus reaction force is there, that is why it is called impulse reaction turbine, but as I told you, to make it different from the impulse turbine, simply it is called reaction turbine. So, when liquid is eventually coming out from the blade and there is a change in direction. So, try to understand, from the radial direction it is suddenly taking a directional change, and that is axial direction, and then liquid is coming out, rather that is at the exit of the turbine, and it is coming out from the turbine and entering in the draft tube. As I told you that at the exit of the turbine liquid is still having some kinetic energy, but we do not want to compromise that energy, because draft tube is a part of the turbine. Essentially this draft tube is connected to the exit of the turbine to increase the overall efficiency of the plant, to increase the overall efficiency of the turbine. So, and it eventually goes out and it goes to the tail race level. So, it goes to the tail race level. So, this is what is the total discussion about the operation of the impulse, operation of the reaction turbine. So, now what is very important at this point of time, as I told you that I will be writing the objective of what I am telling, objective of having this guide vanes. Guide vanes or wicket gates. if I try to write, number 1, it allows to have partial conversion of energy, partial conversion of kinetic energy of the fluid, right. As I told you that that particular mechanism, the pivot at which the guide vanes are pivoted. Okay. So, you know that this is very important, partial conversion of kinetic energy of the fluid takes place in the guide vane. Number 2 is guiding the absolute velocity of the fluid, that is what I was talking about, that it directs the fluid onto the runner at an angle appropriate to design. Okay. Number 3, which is also important, that controlling the amount of fluid to be admitted from the penstock into the runner, right. So, this is obvious that it controls the amount of fluid to be admitted from the penstock into the runner, that is depending on the load. So, these 3 are important objectives of having these guide vanes. Okay. So, now which is very important at this point of time that I was talking about, that we have understood about the what I can say operation of the reaction turbine, essentially by knowing the flow path. So, in the direction of flow we have seen. Now, if I go back to the slide wherein I have written the difference between impulse and reaction turbine, see, I mean if we look at this particular point, a part of the head is converted to the velocity head before water enters the runner. Where it takes place? So, you know that only energy conversion takes place before water enters into the runner is the place, that is the place between 2 consecutive guide vanes, and there only a part of the energy conversion takes place. Then remaining energy conversion takes place when liquid is passing through the passage between 2 consecutive blades. So, it is not a case that the entire energy conversion will take place at a given place, rather entire space is responsible for the total energy conversion, and the pressure head which is rather which could be made available at the inlet to the runner, this is a H gross, though this is not H effective head, but the pressure head which could be made available which could be made available at the inlet to the runner will be converted into the mechanical work when liquid is passing through the entire, I mean when liquid is passing through the entire passage of the turbine. It is not that this energy conversion will take place only at a given place. Okay. So, now if we try to understand, I mean the same thing, that our objective should be to know the work output efficiency, and though the efficiency, the definition of efficiency will be the same, that is what we have discussed in the context of impulse turbine, but at least to know the what I can say, the conversion, right, that energy conversion takes place both in the guide vanes and the blades of the runner. So, at least we should know about the velocity triangles both at the inlet and outlet of the turbine, and by knowing the velocity triangles, at least we should be in a we should know about the change in the velocity components, particularly the whirl component, swirl component. See, when liquid is passing through the passage between two consecutive blades, blade passes to be precise, there is a change in the direction, right. So, there is a change in the direction from radial to the axial. I can't say that this is I mean why it is called radial flow turbine. Radial flow reaction turbine, let me discuss about this particular now, these two coupled words, radial flow. Why? See, flow when it is entering into the runner, that is almost in the radial direction. I can't say that is fully in the radial direction, because the guide vanes, that is very important to know that guide vanes imparts tangential velocity. So, when liquid is entering into the passage between two blades in the runner, then it is not purely radial. So, this is combination of both tangential and radial. So, the wicket gates or guide vanes provides tangential velocity to the liquid when it is passing through the passage between two guide vanes. So, eventually when liquid is entering into the passage between two consecutive blades of the runner, the velocity is not purely radial, rather it is combination of radial and tangential. So, you understand this is not purely radial, but this is combination of radial plus tangential, right. So, but mostly it is rather the though tangential velocity component is present, but I can say this is mostly radial, that is why it is known as radial flow turbine. So, the radial flow comes from the fact that when liquid is entering into the runner from the scroll casing through the guide vanes, it enters in the radial direction. So, this is why it is called radial turbine. When it is passing through the guide vanes, it is getting deflected. So, flow is getting deflected and it takes a turn. So, flow takes a turn from the radial to the axial, right, and when it is coming out from the turbine, it is purely axial, the flow is purely axial. So, you can understand. So, that means because of the deflection caused by the blades, the whirl component or swirl component of velocity will change. Because of this change in swirl component of velocity, there will be change in momentum, and from there we will be able to the total this energy conversion. If we try to try to write the Euler equation for the turbo machines, in particularly Euler equation applicable to turbines, we can understand that what will be the energy conversion. So, now to have an understanding on the change in swirl component of velocity, we must know the velocity triangles both at the inlet and outlet. So, if we try to write, rather if we try to see the velocity triangles, the velocity triangles, let me draw it first. Right, this is very important, and if I use different color, Now, say this point is 1, this angle is beta 1, that is blade angle. So, this is W 1, this is C 1, this is U 1, and this is W 2, U 2 and C 2. This angle is beta 2. Try to understand the outlet velocity triangle that I have drawn over here. We are having purely radial outlet. So, basically you know that there is no, I mean, try to understand, if we go back to the previous slide. So, when liquid is coming out from the turbine, it is purely, so there is no swirl component, right. So, C theta 2 equal to 0. So, this is coming perpendicular. So, this is there is no swirl velocity. So, we have, the designer should design in such a way that C theta 2 component will be equal to 0, but it may not be. So, I mean, if we try to write that, in that case this will be C 2 prime and this is alpha 2. So, when absolute velocity at outlet is C 2, then C theta 2 equal to 0, right. Otherwise, it is C 2 prime. Okay. So, that means that is alpha 2 equal to pi by 2. When alpha 2 not equal to pi by 2, then it is C 2 prime. So, we have drawn the velocity triangles and you know that this is the flow angle at the inlet. So, alpha 1, sorry, I will be writing alpha is the flow angle, beta is the blade angle, and C is the absolute velocity, W is the relative velocity, and U is the tangential velocity component. Okay. So, exactly the same nomenclature we will be following for this case. I mean, the nomenclature that we have followed to discuss when we have discussed about pump, the same nomenclature will be used here also. And only one thing is that for the pump, you know that it was from, if this point is 2. So, this is inward flow, for the pump it was outward flow. So, pump it was outward flow, that is flow is from 2 to 1. Turbine is inward flow hydraulic machine, inward flow, and flow takes place from 1 to 2. So, this is 1 and this is 2. The same velocity triangles can be used to discuss about the pump, provided the flow takes place from 2 to 1, that is outward flow. Now, we are talking about the as if flow is entering from the penstock into the runner, that is, this is 1 is inlet and 2 is outlet. So, this is inward flow hydraulic machines. So, this is turbine. So, you know that 1 is the inlet and 2 is the outlet, and we are measuring the angle in the clockwise direction. So, this is the blade angle at the inlet, flow angle at the inlet, this is blade angle at the outlet, and this is flow angle at the outlet. If we make alpha t equal to pi by 2, there is no swirl at the outlet. So, considering the velocity triangles, we shall next try to discuss about the change in swirl component of velocity, hence the change in momentum. As we have discussed about, the higher is the change in momentum, higher will be the energy conversion, higher will be the power developed. So, from the velocity triangle, in then we shall try to quantify the amount of energy that could be converted from the pressure, I mean amount of pressure head that could be converted into the kinetic energy or mechanical energy, and that part we shall discuss in the next class. So, with this I stop here today. Thank you.